Well, homeowners are opting to renovate their homes to accommodate changing requirements or fix them up before they sell, and that of course could add to the market price of the property, or maybe it's not as easy as that. Joined now by Derek Sumption, Managing Director of Brantham Financial Services, Sandy Geffen, who's Executive Director of Lou Geffen Sotheby's International Realty, joining us to talk about this. So Sandy, let's start with you. I mean, you know this market very well. Your family's been in this business for a long, long time. I suppose people adapt to the market. If they're wanting to sell, they need to try a bit harder to sell that house. So maybe renovation is something that you do to attract more attention to it, to add value.
Yes, if you are considering renovation, I think there's certain things you need to take cognizance of. The ceiling in the area, and you need to do the right things for that particular house in that suburb. So yes, it could add to the value of your house. I mean, if you take a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom and you change it into 3 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms, you're doing pretty good. And also there's also cosmetic renovation. So it depends which way you want to go.
Just on that, I also read a story recently that with the cutest or the best looking house on the block doesn't necessarily interpret into the house that will sell for the highest price tag. So you mentioned there that the ceiling in the area, just to elaborate a little bit more on that, of course.
Well, every area has its own price ceiling, and also within areas there are the higher priced homes in that area depending on the position in the area. You could, for some buyers, their perception is of the view. For other buyers, the perception is being close to the highway. So every house is different, but in a section, they're more or less the same price.
Derek,
so you have a
in the financial services world, the exposure to this kind of activity?
Dave, I think it's something that one has to look at and be very careful of. We've seen over the years of being in consulting with individuals and that sort of thing, people get caught with renovations. Get into it on the premise that they're going to jazz up their house quickly and sell it for a fortune. And generally that doesn't happen. You go and spend a huge amount of money redoing your kitchen, your bathroom, whatever it might be. Generally people are not going to pay you back that money when you try and sell the place. So if you're doing it just to kind of jazz up the property to flog it, suggestion, go not cheap, but don't go over the top, because you could lose a lot of money.
I'm told that in most, in the real estate business, the woman is often the key buyer or decider, and they go straight to the bathroom and the kitchen. They're not interested in the pool or the lounge or the workshop.
Or the pub.
Or the pub, yes. Yes. Guys think pubs add value to houses.
Women don't.
That's true, isn't it, Sandy? The bathroom and the kitchen.
The bathroom and the kitchen are very, very important to a woman. They are the main, I would say, increment that would lead to getting a better price when you do a renovation. For instance, pools, you know, those aren't so important. Some people would have perceptions of a sauna or something like that. But yeah, I would say the main ingredient is the pool and the kitchen.
If you were buying a house, would you look at the kitchen
definitely,
first? Yeah.
Where you eat and where you prepare yourself for the day. But just on that, because a lot of people, you mentioned as well earlier on, Derek, that people tend to renovate their homes and hope that they can recoup the value once they sell the home. Should people really go in with realistic expectations? Because if you spend 200,000 Rand renovating your property, will your home automatically increase its value by 200,000 Rand?
I think it depends what you do, how you do it, and again, the price structure of the area and the street.
I've been told that if you put in a pool, it actually can reduce the value of your house, because most buyers will see it as a liability to look after. That's the kind of advice maybe you have to give. What you've got to do, I suppose, in your business is take the emotion out of it.
And that's very difficult to do, because people are looking at this property saying, we need to flog this thing, we need to get out of it. If we spend 200,000, 300,000 Rand, it'll move quickly, we'll get out of it. Sometimes they dig a deeper hole, because they now go and spend that extra money renovating, and it still doesn't move, because as Sandy says, it's not in the right location, or they've overcapitalized, or it's just in the wrong street, or whatever it might be. They've put extra money into the thing, and they still can't sell it. Now they've got that liability as well. The other thing that we see quite often is that people don't realize when they get a quote to go and do their renovation, that is not the finite price. You're not going to end up paying that. Always remember, you're going to pay 20, 30, 40% more than that.
How's that?
Allow for it. Because when a builder comes along and says to you, yes, I'm going to do your renovation for you, the first thing he wants to do is get the job. So he's not going to price for nice Italian taps in the bathroom and granite marble in the or granite in the kitchen, etc. He's going to give you the basics. You accept that quote and say, that's great, let's go for it. Off you go. Now, all of a sudden, as you say, the wife comes along and you now go to choose the taps. And you can't have those old, not so nice taps. You want that Italian designer, looks so great. And then you've got to have the basin that goes with it. And you've got to have the toilet that goes with it. You've got to have the and all of a sudden, you're 20%, 30% over budget.
They make it
so you've
sound
got to
so
allow
bad,
for it.
then.
True.
They
You
make it
always
sound so
spend
bad.
more than you intended to pay.
Correct. So always allow, if you're going to do renovations, and I've done them personally myself, allow a 30% extra.
I must get on the phone to cancel that.
And always buy the worst house in the best street if you intend investing. Yeah,
Yes.
because position is 9/10 of the law.
Location, location, location.
That's it, spot on.
It.
Thanks so
Yes.
much to you, the two guests that we had with us today, Derek Sumption, who's the Managing Director of Branton Financial Services, as well as Sandy Geffen, Executive Director at Lou Geffen Sotheby's International Realty.